Morning and good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity. I'd like to say, in watching this morning, some outstanding speakers, and Ron, as always, a great technical group within your events and within your orbit. From the Stratacache perspective, we're going to talk about strategy and as it applies to the scaling of the technology. So specifically, we're going to talk about micro LED manufacturing at scale within the United States. Where others have gone very deep down the technical path, I'm going to talk both strategy and market as it applies to these applications. So we'll start with talking a little bit about Stratacache, our plans for micro LED manufacturing in the United States at scale, as well as what we would call this emerging GaN silicon foundry model that can apply to multiple markets and multiple use cases, and then finally any questions and answers. So a little bit about Stratacache. We Stratacache service the hardware and software technology for large format display. So we are typically in that, call it 15-inch or above display up through large billboard size displays. We're digital signage guys. We drive over 3 million displays all around the world. Within that, in airports, restaurants, retail environments, office buildings. The company is 23 years old, and again, a very large footprint of displays with 1,100 employees globally supporting that base. I'm the founder and CEO of the company. What we see as an opportunity to domesticate through the use of micro LED a new display industry globally. Clearly, the display industry over the last kind of 20 years has been dominated within Asia. There's an opportunity within the micro LED and again silicon model to be able to re-domesticate that into the United States, into key environments in Europe, and to build a new display industry that allows for much more customization and much more protection of intellectual property. So within our Oregon facility, we're vertically integrating 300 millimeter smart pixel micro LED to semiconductor and making this model for smart pixels, as it were. So the Stratacache E4 smart pixel fab was originally built in 1997 through 1999 by Hynix. This was an old 200 millimeter CMOS fab. We acquired this facility in 2020. The facility had been abandoned in 2008 and basically mothballed, and we're retasking that facility for domestic manufacturing at scale within the United States. With this facility, unlike having to break ground on a new facility, we have all facility infrastructure in place, all permitting for air, water, etc., to be able to run fast in the micro LED model. So our what we'd call the micro LED manufacturing in the US GaN silicon foundry model, as we see it, there's a fundamental problem in the display industry today. That is principally something that's evolved over the last 30 years with a challenge with domestic policy on manufacturing in the United States and the concentration now of display industry, specifically in China. As the slides show, there's an absolute dominance of the display market within the Chinese manufacturing sphere, as the Chinese have really muscled into that market very heavily, especially in the last several years. Within that, United States government versus Korean government, Taiwanese government, Chinese government, anyone not in China is at a tactical disadvantage when it comes to the financial models around building display. The Chinese government goes well out of their way to incentivize as a key industry through tax credits, through government supported construction and debt free loans or forgivable loans, as well as many of the major Chinese players being in one form or another government owned or government sponsored within their models. Similar, but less so in Taiwan and in Korea. And if you look at the history of over $75 billion being poured into the Chinese display market, the current emergence and strength of that Chinese market can definitely be tied back to that subsidiary. Within the United States, you certainly do not have that same operating environment, but micro LED and the GaN silicon model changes that because all of the barriers to entry that exist today in the display market can be wiped away with micro LED and the ability to build that domestically with fully domesticated supply chains.